This is Dr. Vaishali and I'm reading from the book Structure, Experience with the Mineral Kingdom. Chapter name is Understanding of the Column. Column 17, Halogen. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. These are the halogen. What is the property of halogen? The term halogen originated from the 18th century scientific French nomenclature based on hearing adaptations of Greek root. The Greek word halon means salt and the gens means production, referring to the elements which produce a salt in union with the metal. In column 17, known as the halogen element are missing just one electron each to fill their cell. And therefore, in chemical reaction, they tend to acquire electron. The tendency to acquire electron is called the electronegativity. So they tend to acquire electron, and this property is most evident for the fluorine. Means the most electronegativity elements of the whole table, that is fluorine, and it diminishes with the increasing of rho. Owing to their high reactivity, the halogen are found in the environment only in a compound or as ion. The halogen are the only group which contain element in all three familiar state of matter at standard pressure and temperature, and where fluorine and chlorine are the gases, bromine is liquid, and iodine and astatine are solid. Little is known regarding the therapeutic utility of the astatine, a naturally occurring radioactive element which is the heaviest of the halogen, and for practical reason these studies confine mainly to the first four halogen. Overview of the halogen. The main feeling in halogen is, I don't need you so much. I am really nearly complete in myself, and so they don't want to be tied down or bound for too long, because halogen have 7 electrons in their outermost orbit and they require just one more to make them stable. So when they unite with another element, they tend to form an anion, which are negatively charged ion, as opposed to the cation, which are positively charged ion. At the opposite end of the spectrum are the element of column 1, natrium and kali, etc., which have only one electron in their outermost orbit, so would require 7 to make them stable. When they unite with another element, they tend to give up their outermost electron, thus making them a cation, means positively charged. Although, then their next orbit down is stable with 8 electron. Hence, this element, like a cation, like sodium and potassium, etc., are very needy and dependent on others to achieve the stability. Symptom illustrating the feeling of being tied down. This is a symptom of halogen. I have a great internal need to not get tied down. When these tight become a social things, they become very tight for me, and that tightness drawn out everything else in my life. Like Kali iodatum case from the Massimo Mangalia, which already is given. Now second, bound by tight cord in frontal region, which is mentioned in the mentioned by Robert, and it is present in the Merck iode of fluorine. Forehead band as if of tight cord, as if will be this is also present in near Merck iode. Merck iode rubrum. Then pressing bound up as if brain, which is present in Natrium muriaticum from complete repertory. Pain band bound as if by, which is in iodine from the complete repertory. And inner chest oppression, heart with violent beating preceded by rush of the blood to the chest, or with sensation as if lung were tied with a thread. which is mentioned in a which is present in a Kali Muir uh, in complete repertory. Inner chest tightness pressed together, which is in Kali Muir. Inner chest tightness tied as if with a thread with the oppression of the chest, which is in Kali Muir from complete repertory. So they have feeling of tiredness, tied down. Now, understanding of the halogen, the structure become burden. They feel trapped, bound, tied down, and confined by the structure. They want to break free and escape from it. They feel alone to face their situation with nobody to depend on, as exactly opposite to column 1 and 2, where they depend completely on another person. The structure is dissolving and crumbling. So they feel starved, betrayed, disappointed, and being let down. In the halogen, the feeling is not only have I lost now, but I am also being attacked and people are jumping on me and stabbing me. They are breaking me down completely and they tend to retaliate by becoming a violent themselves. Common physical symptoms: hardness of the gland found in all of the halogen. This represents a hard defensive posture, whether we consider the hardness of the gland itself or regards it as a function of the body's immune mechanism. Also peculiar to the halogen is the tremendous activity, the active metabolism, the rapid emaciations and marked restlessness, etc. The feeling can be compared to the nation attacked by an enemy, where we observe a strong defense, then tremendous activity and mobilizations of the force with the impulse to strike back at the least provocation, and this exactly represents the center, means core of the halogen, both mentally and physically. The intensity of the feeling, which indicates the desperation of the delusion, seems to be increased with the heaviness of the element. Keywords of the halogens are crumbling, broken, betrayal, let down, disappointment, trapped, bound, tied down, caged, burden, confined, starved, free, break free, better in fresh air, escaped, jump, impulse, stabbed in the back. Now, individual element of the halogen, one is fluorine. Property of the fluorine. Fluorine is the most negative and reactive of the all elements. It is a pale yellow corrosive gas which react with practically all organic and inorganic substance. It affects all the substance it comes in contact with, including platinum. It is the most chemically active of the non-metallic element. It combines directly with most element and indirectly with the nitrogen, chlorine and oxygen. Nearly all compounds are decomposed by fluorine to form a fluoride that are among the most stable of the all chemical compounds. Finally, divided metal, glass, ceramic, carbon, and even water burn in the fluorine with a bright flame. Until World War II, there was no commercial production of the elemental fluorine. Atom bomb project and the nuclear energy application made it necessary to produce a large quantity of the fluorine, since isotopes of the uranium can be separated through the gas diffuse of the UF6, and compound of the fluorine with noble gas such as xenon, radon and krypton are known. Elemental fluorine and the fluorides ion are highly toxic. Now, understanding of the fluorine, the row 2, fetal life and birth process being a part within and separating, completely independent and separate. Attachment to the person become burdensome and for them, and they attachment of the person become burdensome to them, and then they completely separate. Fluorine, which belongs to the row 2, which also mirrors the process of labor and the separation, is at the stage where the fetus is completely separated from the mother and the two are separate, distinct individual, where there is a complete separation. Since fluorine is the lightest, most reactive, and most electronegative element, it form and breaks the relations very rapidly and readily. This can be seen in the symptomology of the fluoricum acidum. A tremendous effort in the direction of a breaking off and of the relationship. We have the rubric delusion, betrothal, engagement must be broken. Second, separated part of the body fills. There is a which is mentioned in the complete repertory. And he is capable to destroy a relation, take him to separation, which is mentioned in the Larox. Now, fluoric acid is also very flirtatious and maybe acquaintance, but no deep relationships. The term buoyancy has been used to describe the fluoric acidum. The word is derived from the buo, a conical object which floats on the surface of the ocean and never sink, never reach any depth. Thus, fluorine is quite superficial, as well as it will be seen on the surface. In comparison to the other halogen, however, a study of the pathology for which fluoric acidum and calcarea fluorica are well known show very deep chronic processes. So the substance containing the fluorine seems to take a syphilitic dimension, and with the muriaticum, means with the chlorine and bromine compound, we find more psychotic dimension. Second is chlorine. Property of the chlorine. The chlorine ion, which is part of the common salt and other compound and is abundant in nature and necessary to the most form of the life, including humans. Understanding this chlorine, under the standard conditions, chlorine is a pale green gas with a disagreeable, suffocated odor and is poisonous. Chlorine is powerful oxidant and is used in the bleaching, disinfectant. Chlorine gas is a diatom C12. It combines readily with nearly all elements, although it is not as extremely reactive as a fluorine. Now, understanding of the chlorine, it's a row 3 issues of the identity and the nourishment. They feel betrayal, hurt, and let down by the identity given to them, so they want to break free from that and assume a completely opposite identity. The feeling is, I am the opposite of you. The main feeling of muriaticum is the betrayal of the trust. The action of betrayal is, I don't want you, pushing you away, rejecting you. Chlorine, means muriaticum, is found in all of us, even in the healthy state. This signifies that it is the aspect of the health. Example, it has to do with a situation met with the frequently in the life. Like muriaticum has a feeling that all of us have experienced at some time or another. Yet, to be stuck in muriaticum state become the unhealthy conditions. However, this is the different from the fluorine, which is stuck in the state abnormal in human life, while muriaticum is stuck in the state which is needed to be in certain extent in the normal human life. Thus, the former is syphilitic, representing a totally abnormal state, that is means fluorine, and while the latter is psychotic, means representing the fixity in one state. It is a concern with a deeper relationship than the fluorine, like a deep friendship. It is therefore more reluctant to enter relationships, and the disappointment and hurt felt on rejections is much more intense. Thus, we find that it is a deeper and not as reactive as fluorine. whereas fluorine represent or present an indifferent attitude. Muriaticum become a repulsive. For example, delirium quite alternating with the restlessness or the mood repulsive as in magnesium muriaticum. The impression of the danger become more definite in muriaticum as a fear of robbers, uh, which is present in muriaticum and muriaticum, and delusion sees thieves, etc. Now, next is bromine. Property of the bromine. The name comes from the Greek word bromos, which means nasty smell. It is the brownish red acrid smoking fluid. Some method of water purification, disinfections, bleaching, and the production of the tear gas make use of this corrosive property. Silver bromide is used in the photographic processing. Other bromine compounds are used to increase the flame resistance in the artificial material. Bromine are also used in the engine to reduce the knocking. Bromine is widely used in the chemical process because it can easily interchange between the different compounds. Now, understanding of the bromine. It has a row 4 issue of the security and task, job and work. Totally insecure and completely alone to face the danger in an attack. They feel there is nobody to protect them. They have an issue to do with the ghost, being pursued, conscientious, hitting, punishing, crime, and guilt. In bromine, the sensation of danger take on a more threatening form, as evident from the rubric. Delusion jumped upon the ground before her, all sort of things. The feeling here is of being attacked with an intent to harm, not just to rob, as in muriaticum. Bromine is deeper than muriaticum and is concerned with the formations and breaking of the deeper relationship or deeper ties. The internal feeling is of a great restlessness, and one feeling is of being frustrated or frustrated, flustered. Sorry, it's being flustered, disconcerted, disconcerted. Okay. Restlessness and feeling of being flustered, disconcerted. Rubric is dreams, coffin, death, dead bodies of funerals, etc. Fatak Matriamanika says, takes no interest in household duty, sad, indifference, low spirited, inconsolable, does not feel normal but cannot tell why, sits alone in her room without doing anything, look constantly in one direction without saying anything. Now, next is iodine. The property of iodine. Iodine is a non-metallic dark gray purple black lustrous solid element. Iodine is the most electropositive halogen and the least reactive of the halogens, even if it can be still from the compound with many elements. Understanding of the iodine. Row 5 issues of the phasing, new creativity and the performance. Complete alone and unguided in new situation. The new situation is dangerous and they can be suddenly threatened, betrayal, cornered or stabbed in the back. They cannot depend on anybody. The feeling is exactly the opposite of the strontium, which is also in the 5th row. And strontium feels completely dependent on the guidance when going into something new. The item feels that the person who is supposed to shows or guide them is either not there or has turned against them. They have to survive in dangerous situations or in a foreign country alone, which they perceive as dangerous situations, and they face independently. The main feeling in iodine is violence in the strange and new place. Expert from the Rajan Shankar's iodine proving one, I went out of my house. Dreams was, I think it's a proving. In proved symptoms are I went out of my house and saw a person with a hip deformity. My grandmother asked what had happened to him to make him walk like that. And I answered that I would examine him. Suddenly, he started jumping and climbing on the windows and on the top of the building. Started making faces. He was spitting large chunk like a stone. He came down and chased me. I knocked on the door and ultimately my mother opened it before he caught me. For these comments, the theme of Adam is danger from the unexpected, strange, new, and threatening situations. And they feel untrained to handle these situations. How do I do this with no one to help or guide me? And number two for the proving is when in OPD, outdoor patients, I was asked to describe the stramonium and I could not answer properly. I felt why could I not answer properly? I was twisted a paper and felt like twisting my body. Impulsiveness, inability to answer properly, felt like scratching my hand violently when I could not answer. Feeling I should hurt myself, angry at self, and dream of the woman I know having epileptic attack, laughing and running. My father does the same thing when he came into the room. I search in the repertory for it and ask my aunt who has proved iodine. And here comment is here we can see impulsive, intense, sudden violent anger in the case directed towards her. It is as if she feels let down by herself in a very bad way at a vital time. And number three dreams is the dream of he goes to the restaurant with his family and while there goes to use the phone, and when he came back his family has eaten everything and nothing is left for him. He is very angry. And comment for this is feeling of being let down by his own family, starved. Number four dream. I am on an island with the greenery everywhere and a tall castle. I am obese and I can't walk. I enter the castle. There is a huge window through which I see many sheep which have been hurt by the somebody. I think of helping them. I go through a tunnel, either room, and see a laboratory where there is a bottle full of iodine. I take some clothes from the curtain and tie it to the sheep to heal their wound. Comment here are feeling that urgent action is needed. We also see the violence here. Number five dreams is she is with a child near a circle and she see man playing with a knife coming near them. He is chasing him. He is chasing them. When she asks why he is doing this, he says there is a bigger knife in the garbage. Comment is sudden intense danger. Number six, dream of the fighter bomber circling around the city in Pakistan, which it has a bomb. It goes around and tells them through a loudspeaker, I am going to bomb, run. Comment here is violent and attacking situations where the intense threat and the needs to be rapid in action. Then next dream is my father sitting on the table and eating noodles which are coming out from his mouth. I stop eating and my mother comes with my aunt and console me. I rejoined the table with a feeling of anger and hunger. I felt, how could he not understand how bad it looks? Next dream is my mother and her relative have finished all the food. Nothing is left for me. I ask where my food is and she answered that there is nothing for me. I am violent, hungry and angry and scratch her face. She scratched my face too. Comment here is there is a feeling of being let down and violent reaction. Next dream is I was on a train and outside it was dark and raining. The driver was driving the train very fast and I was anxious. Comment here is threatening and intense situation is there. Important rubrics are anxiety hungry when, cares full of it if he does not, Company aversion to, presence of stranger to, dreams danger, dreams eating, kill desire to, travel desire to, pain band bound as if by, astenine, property of the astenine. Little is known regarding the therapeutic utility of the astenine. A naturally occurring radioactive element, which is the heaviest of the halogen. Its name is derived from the Greek word aston, meaning unstable. A status means unstable. It is a short lifespan. The average half-life of the various isotope is only about 7 to 8 hours. Concentrations of the astatine can be found in the thyroid gland. Understanding of the astatine, row 6 issue of the responsibility. All their decision making ability and power has been taken away. Nothing left. They start to disintegrate with a feeling of letting go. In Barata, the feeling is that they lack the capacity to take power or handle responsibility, and in astatine, it is taken away already. Now, composition of the halogen. As said earlier, halogen have a feeling of betrayal and hurt and react in a repulsive manner by throwing off. This is the fail side of the halogen in life. However, they learn to cope up and avoid situations that can cause this feeling. So, the main features of the halogen in the cope up state would be to avoid breaking of the relationships. They can be very caring and they love one so as to try and avoid getting hurt, as opposed to the cation and like calcarea, natrum, etc., which needs the relationship and stick on. The halogen and other anion feel that in order to avoid hurt, they must do something, they are doer. For example, in floricum acidum, we have the symptom indifference to the relatives and delusion children out of the house he must drive. However, floricum acidum also has a dream of sudden death of his little son and also of the son of one of his friend, thinks that in both cases he had been one of the blame, reproach himself very much. In muriaticum, the coping up is much more intense in the form of caring and nurturing. In bromine, the coping up is more than the muriaticum. The feeling is of having to fulfill the wish of other, the relative and loved one. For example, we have the symptom take no interest in household duty, which is mentioned in the part of materia medica, which indicate that the coping up will be the opposite. This seems in the tremendous guilt of the calibrometicum and delusion crime he had committed. This is the rubric for the calibrometicum. They are very duty conscious and highly industrious, always busy. Halogen compound. The halogen compound, it is difficult to study individual halogen except iodine due to lack of cases. So I studied them as a salt, which is common cation and either kali and calcium. From cases, the repertories and reference works, I understand this one is calcarea fluoritica. Calcarea fluoritica has issue of the row 3, security, especially financial. They feel they are not able to support themselves financially, which is in column 2. Fluorine has the issue of the row 2 and separation, and the feeling is of total separation, which is in 17. The 17 column. Thus, calcarea fluorica represent the possibility of total separation, though you are financially independent, like through the death of the relative or whom you are financially dependent. The main feeling of calcarea fluorica is fear of losing security. Therefore, fear of poverty is the main rubric of the calcarea fluorica. This comes from the feeling that they may suddenly find themselves in a broken relationship or separated, on which they are dependent for the security and finance. They consequently need to make their position very secure. Rubric of calcarea fluorica are fear of poverty, dreams death of relatives, jumping bed out of the dreaming while wake him up, which is a single remedy for this rubric. Jumping bed out of dreaming while waked him up. Jumping impulse to dream in. And for further reading case study, we will refer to the page 6 to 7. Oh, we stop till this topic, right? Next time we will read Kali Viryatika. Okay.